Hello and welcome back to Lord Fenton Gaming Plays Baldur's Gate 3. I'm your host Lord Fenton. In this Baldur's Gate 3 build video, we're doing the Barbarian Berserker Battlemaster Superiority Frenzy DPS build. As always, like, comment, and subscribe to my channel for more Baldur's Gate 3 builds like this. Do not forget to hit notification bells to be updated and much more. Here are the pros and cons of this build. Number one, your burst damage is going to be really good, especially later on when you start into the fire levels. Number two, you're going to go ahead and, of course, have the best of both worlds, which is the Barbarian Berserker subclass and the Fire Battlemaster class. Another thing is you cannot be surprised at all at certain levels, thanks to the Barbarian class. And of course, there's another one that's good I didn't mention. I'm going to go ahead and say it. You're going to be able to roll a dice when you do 1 and 2, re-roll again, because thanks to, you guessed it, the fighter class. Now, let's go ahead and talk about the cons. You're not going to be the best of a pure barbarian or a pure fighter. And if you're playing the lowest difficulty in the game, basically story mode, yeah, you cannot multi-class at all. This is not for you, unfortunately. You have to go pure class. Now, I'm going to go ahead and tell everybody what, I should say, character you should definitely use this on. Karlach. Believe me. I wish I would have used it a lot more sooner. So let's go ahead and start with, you guessed it, the character creation process first. Now, once again, I'm going to say this for the origin stories. If you're doing origin characters, Karlach is the best way to go for this. She's a perfect fit. You want to do the Dark Urge, that's fine as well. So those two are good options there. Up to you all on that. Now you play a custom character, congratulations. That's very cool. So the first race I'm going to go ahead and go over is the Tieflings. Now their base racial speed is 9 meters per turn. They can definitely see in the dark up to 12 meters, which is good. And hellish resistance. Yeah, resistance to fire only take half damage. Zariel Tieflings, they do get this ability. This will give you advantages on intimidation and performance checks. Later on, they get certain smites. You're not going to be able to do the full benefits like a paladin, but still, it's good. Now, humans, they got 9 meters per movement speed. They have pikes, halberds, any of the guards, militia, and of course, you guessed it, peasant weapons. They also are proficient with light armor and shield. Human versatility, so they get an extra skill point as a human. That's their bread and butter, which is good. Now, Githyanki, this is an underdog race, but they're really good for this build. Astral knowledge, gain proficiency in all skills of a chosen ability, so if you want to boost up some strength, yeah, pop there. Now, they start with Mage Hands, which you grab things out of reach, but later on they get to teleport, which is good. Their racial speed is 9 meters per turn, and they have armor proficiency with light and medium armor, and they could use heavy weapons like greatsword and such. Now, next up is the Elves. They got 9 meters per turn, which is good. They also could use elven weapons like longswords, short bows, and long bows. They can see in the dark up to 12 meters. And Fey Ancestry, they have advantages against being charmed and cannot be magically put to sleep. That's very good. I'm going to probably say best sub-race to be blunt is the Wood Elf, because they get extra 1.5 movement speed. So instead of 9 meters, they get 10.5, which is a good thing. Now, I'm going to go ahead and go over the Dwarves. Now, for the Dwarves, they got 7.5 movement speed per turn. That's all right. A little disadvantage in that compared to big races, but we're Dwarves. So, Dwarves are combat trained. They have proficiencies in battle axe, hand axes, light hammer, and, of course, other hammers. Dark vision, 12 meters, you can see in dark. They also have advantages on saving throws against poison and take less poison damage if it happens. Dwarven toughness for a gold dwarf, they get 1 extra hit point per level. Since you're a barbarian, you get a lot more hit points because of that. Now, next up are the half-orcs. They gain 9 meters per movement speed per turn, which is good. They can see in the dark, which is 12 meters. And relentless endurance, so when they're about to be down 0 hit points, they get 1 hit point and fight again. Now, savage attack, when you land a critical hit with a melee weapon, you do extra damage, which is good. I'm going to probably say Zariel Tiefling, Wood Elf, or you guess that this Orcs. Half-orc, I should say. You're basically a frontline fighter. You kick some butt. With rage, you deal 2 extra melee damage with improvised weapons and throwing, which are very powerful. Also, another class feature as well is when you're not wearing any armor, you add your Constitution modifier to AC, which is nice. So let's go over the backgrounds real quick. I felt like the Outlander, that's a good one there. You get athletics and survival, possibly the best one. And the other one's a soldier, which is a good one. I'm probably going to say Outlander is the way to go for this build. Now for ability points, let's go over those, shall we? You should have the +2 for the strength. Put that to 16. That's going to be bread and butter for this build. Dexterity 14. Constitution 16. Put the +1 there. Intelligence 8. You're going to suffer. That's all right. And then wisdom and charisma at 10. And there's your bread and butter for strength. We're going to get that to 20 with this build. Even we have 4 levels, of course, of the fighter. Dexterity 14. A little bit AC. And a little bit of dexterity saving throws. Constitution. We're going to have a lot of hit points with this build since we're barbarians. As I mentioned, intelligence is our weak side, and wisdom and charisma are our, I should say, neutral. So we'll be fine with that. If we're talking, I advise wills should be the talk of your party. As for skills, definitely go for athletics, perception, survival, and intimidation. Now, if you're human, acrobats is the way to go. It's your 5th skill. Now, athletics, of course, that's your strength-based skill. You want perception. Look out for things that's out of the ordinary. And survival, yeah, look for something hidden there as well. Intimidate, that's the skill I like to use. Since you have 10 charisma, you have like an average advantage on that as well. So those skills again is athletics, perception, survival, intimidation, and if you're a human, acrobats. That's about it for character creation. So we're going to go ahead and level up our character from, of course, 2 to 12. I'm going to go ahead and use Karlach to level up from 2 to 12. So we're at Barbarian level 2. We're going to focus on the Barbarian class first. Here we go. Danger sense. You have advantages on dexterity saving throws against traps, spells, etc. Reckless attacks. Good news is you have advantage against foes. Foes have advantages against you with that attack. Ding! Level 3. So we get to now switch our subclasses. This is what we get as a Tiefling, Searing Smite. And we're doing Berserker. Instead of Rage, we get Frenzy now. And we get to do a little bit more damage with that and other nice things as well. Frenzy Strikes. So we have, with our bonus actions, we use, of course, extra damage with that. And we also can do throws that are powerful too. Now we're at Barbarian level 4. So we get ourselves a feat. Every 4 levels, you get a feat in a class. I did Great Weapon Master. So here's the deal. When you land a critical hit or a kill, you get to do another attack with a bonus action. So long as you have a bonus action, you get a free hit. And that's really useful 5 and beyond. Now, unfortunately, penalty to attack bonus is -5. We'll be able to negate that with items and such. Melee damage, however, is +10. So we add +10 to damage, which is very nice. So let's keep on leveling up. Ding! Level 5. And here we go. First we get the extra attack. Instead of 1 attack per round, we get 2 with Great Weapon Mastery, and we still have our bonus, that's 3. Fast movement speed is increased while you're not wearing heavy armor. We're wearing medium to nothing, or I should say cloth. So let's keep going. Now we're at Barbarian level 6, and here's what we get. We get extra rage, or I say extra frenzy now. So let's go ahead and talk about what's next after that. So, mindless rage. So, while frenzied, you cannot be charmed or frightened, and common emotions will no longer affect you. So, in other words, your rage won't go bye-bye. That is a very good thing. Now we're at Barbarian level 7, and we get one thing. Feral Instincts, so we gain +3 to initiative, and we cannot be surprised. This is really good. This is like alertness feat, but we get it for free. So we don't have to waste that feat no more to get that. So this is a great thing. Now we're at Barbarian level 8. This is the last time as the Barbarian class. And we get ourselves another feat. We're going to do ability improvement. So strength is our bread and butter. We're going to put that to +2. So we have 18 strength now, which is a very good thing. We're going to be able to hit 20 before this build is over and done with. Now we're going to go ahead and now do a, you guessed it, multi-class. So we're going to go ahead and switch out of the Barbarian. There's a little tab in this menu part. We're switched to it. If you're playing lower than balanced difficulty, the lowest difficulty, you cannot multi-class. Just a warning. Again, so we pick fighter. we get second wind. We'll use a bonus action to heal ourselves 2 to 11 hit points, which by the way is really good, everyone. Fighting style, we're doing great weapon fighting style. So when we roll a 1 or 2 with our two-handed weapon, we get to reroll again, and that can lead to a critical hit, folks. That is a very good thing we're going to pick. That's one of the advantages we have definitely with this build over a pure barbarian. So now we're at, you guessed it, fire level 2, and let's go ahead and select that now. So that'll be at character level 10. Action surge, so immediately you get an extra action to use in combat. This is a short rest thing. It is really powerful, especially with this build. You're going to be wrecking things like no tomorrow. Now we're at fire level 3, character level 11. So we get a few things. First of all, we're going to make sure we have the Battlemaster. That's very important. We get to pick 3 passives. And also we get our hit dices as well. Superiority dice. So when we do that, our damage is in the 1d8s. We have 4 of them, which is good. So that's all we need for this build. First of all, Rip Tours. So we use our superior dice in order to do an extra 1d8 damage. So they miss, we hit them back. Simple as that. Precision attack. So we use one of our superior dice in order to, of course, do an extra attack bonus equal to the number of your superior dice. So we have 4 of those suckers. Guess what? We use this, and we get attack rolls to 4. Maneuvering attack, that's a decent one. It's not bad at all. It's force maneuver on a foe. I should say more like on an ally, but I think there's better ones out there. There's other good ones too, but my personal favorite is menacing attack. So when we use a superior hit dice, either with range or melee, we hit our foe. Now, if they fail their saving throw, they're frightened. That's like a crowd control type of thing. That's very good. And if we miss this entire attack, we do not spend our superiority dice, which is good. So those are my top 3: menacing attack, precision attack, and Rip Torse. Those are my top 3 for this build. Lock it in, folks. So let's level up next. Ding, level 12 character level, fire level 4. So we give ourselves another feat again since it's a level of 4s. We're going to put our strength to 20. That's correct, folks. Strength to 20. We have other ways to, if with this build, if you do it right, we'll get our strength to 24. So for now, this will be natural 20 just by leveling up. And that's about it from leveling up from 2 to 12. 8 Barbarian, 4 Fighter. So we're going to go ahead and talk about permanent ability score boosts. In Baldur's Gate 3, there are 3 ways to permanently boost your ability scores. So I'm going to go over each of them since there are 1 in each act. So here's the first one. In Act 1, if you spare Auntie Ethel, you get the option to get a +1 ability score item of your choice. Avoid any paladin to get this under 10 hit points. In case they'll break their oath, you should be the one to do it. You will have to pass I think it was a talking check. Either it was persuasion or something like that. You got to pass that. In Act 2, you got to make sure Asteron is alive for this one or he's in your party. With Asteron, have him bite Araja in Moonrise Tower. That is the potion / jewelry item drow. She sells the best jewelry in the game. She's there. Just play it cool there. And if you do everything right, you get a +2 strength potion. That's very important. Last but not leastly is the Mirror Loss. In Act 3, when you visit the Shar Temple, you go underground, you get to the Mirror Loss. 3 things can happen. +1 charisma if you're really lucky, and +2 stat of your choice. Number 2 options, +2 stat of your choice, or if you're really lucky, you get nothing out of it. The loss can be cured. I'll go into more greater detail on that. So first we're going to go over the Act 2 item with Asteron. I did record the Auntie Ethel stuff with my paladin, so I couldn't do that at all. But still, if you're going for the Act 1 stuff, then again, make sure your main character or someone who's really a good talker speak with Auntie Ethel when she's under 10 hit points. This is very important. With this build, you should be the one definitely forcing Asteron to bite Araja. So this way, you get yourself a very nice, really nice +2 strength potion. Since you're a frontline melee fighter, and this is a strength-based build, those are the reasons. So once Asteron does the deed, what happens is she'll actually pony up the potion. That's correct. Besides the racial one, you already gave blood to her. You get the +2 strength one, which is really good. You definitely want to use that. So I'm going to go ahead and demonstrate now. And there you go. Free +2 strength potion. So now let's go ahead to the Mirror Loss in Act 3. At some point in Act 3, you will have to pass some intelligence check. It'll be Arcana twice or Religion, depending on your choice. Good idea if you don't want to mess things up. Get high intelligence and charisma to respect into that. The thing is, when you get the losses, the first 6 are same as the gains. And one thing is, do not pick number 7. You lose out on the gains. Shard knows you're lying. That's all I will say. So I'm going to go over the gains. They're the same as the losses. As for the, I should say, ability score. So here we go on the first one. Now, number 1 is +2 strength. Number 2 is +2 dexterity. Number 3 is +2 constitution. Number 4 is +2 intelligence. Number 5 is +2 wisdom. And number 6 is +2 charisma. Since you're doing this barbarian/fire build, go for number 1. And if you want to go for the loss when you do that, go for -2 dexterity. You're asking, can that be cured? Yes, it is a curse, everyone. You heard me right. It's a curse. Remove curse or greater restoration will do the trick. So pop that sucker there, and boom. The loss is gone, but you do gain the +2 strength out of it. That's about it for this section. I'm going to go ahead and show you all the before and after. After you did gain these ability scores up, so I'm going to do the before and after. So this is before as if you did 1 through 12 without doing any of these or using these said items. Strength at 20, dexterity 14, constitution 16, intelligence 8, wisdom 10, and charisma 10. Now this is after. Of course, I'm just calculating if you missed out on the +1 charisma at the Mirror Loss. So here we go. Strength at 24, thanks to the +2 strength potion, the Mirror Loss, dexterity 14, constitution 16. If you decide to do the anti-ethel method, that'll be at 17. There's a way to even that out later on in the game. That's very late, not spoiling it. Intelligence 8, wisdom 10, and charisma 10. That's about it for the permanent ability score boosts. So let's go ahead and talk about next are the Tadpole Powers and what powers you should pick. I did split up the Tadpole Powers into 2 categories. Before the Astral Touch Tadpole and after you use the Astral Touch Tadpole. So what I'm going to go ahead and do at this time to go ahead and show you first the before, then the after. Here are the Tadpole powers you should get before using the Astral Touch Tadpole. Favorable beginnings, boosts attack rolls, or give you advantages in dialogue. This is really good for the boosts and attack rolls. Usually appears, of course, during first round combat. Great idea to use this when you're facing against tough foes. This is like once per long rest. Call the weak. When a creature has a few hit points less than your number of Tadpole powers, it dies. So, for example, you have 6 Tadpole powers, creatures under 5 hit points, it dies instantly. Really useful. Psionic Backlash. When a foe casts a spell, you do 1d4 damage per caster level. Very powerful. Annoying casters casting Fireball. You pop this, you do damage against them while they try to cast a spell. Force Tunnel charges forwards and draws no attacks on you when you do this. This is like a free charge. It's like a movement speed type of thing. In other words, you move across the battlefield really good. Drain ability, attack that can either drain in strength or dexterity. Now, I heard it works on spells too. Now, for this instance, this is good for the strength, which is the melee attack, and dexterity for range. As always, when you drain a foe's ability score, that's a good thing, especially strength. So you can toss them around like crazy afterwards. Let's go to the after you use the Astral Touch Tadpole. Here are the Tadpole powers you want to get after you unlock it thanks to Astral Touch Tadpole. And welcome to the dark side of Baldur's Gate 3. Well, the dark side of Baldur's Gate 3 is a joke, so let's go on. Black Hole OP AoE attack. This is a very powerful attack. I used this in a very late game, and I wrecked everything. It's broken. Now, fly, gain ability to fly. This is a great movement type of thing. So you want to hit fly, you move around. In case you kill one foe, you go after the next foe, and you attempt to do it again. Repulsor AoE pushback attack. This will do damage. This is a good one since if you feel you have too many foes surrounding you, and you're almost out of attacks. Free cast. Next ability, spells, or anything else is free of charge to use. This is really good. You don't want to use a charge for a sample surge action. pop this sucker, and then you do your surge action and have a good time doing so. That's about it for Tadpole Powers. So next up I'm going to talk about is the gear advice. I decided to split up the gear for this build into two categories. Gear that you should get before entering the Shadow Curse lands, aka by the end of Act 1, and gear before you definitely start endgame. In other words, gear you get alongside Act 2 and 3. I'm going to go ahead and start with the gear advice by the end of Act 1, and here we go, everyone. Let's start with the headgear. The Haste Helm gains momentum for 3 rounds. This gives you extra movement speed, which is good for 3 rounds, especially with this build. This is in a locked chest in the Blighted Village in Act 1. Here's some alternatives. Cap of Wrath, Last Stand. During combat, when the wearer starts their turn with 50% hit points or less, they gain Wrath for 2 rounds. Wrath is when you gain a +1 bonus to damage with melee weapons. Thud has this item in the Underdark Grimforge area. Either kill him or someone else does it for you. You can also trade the Boots of Speed to get this as well. Let's get to the next set of equipment. Here's some chest pieces you definitely want to get. Blood Guzzler's Garb, Grievous Retribution. When an enemy damages the wearer, you gain Wrath for 1 turn. That's the same as the certain helmet I just read. The Bullet drops this in the Underdark Act 1. Those are those land sharks there. Just watch out when they pop up. Not too hard to kill. Here's a good alternative. Amantite Scale Mail, Magical Plate, all incoming damage reduced by 1. Amantite Backlash, when a melee attack hits you, the attacker is sent reeling for 2 turns. Reeling foes who hit you gets a -1 penalty to attack rolls for every turn remaining. Attackers cannot land critical hits against you. This is at the Grimforge in the Underdark in Act 1. You must defeat Grim to have access to the Forge. Defeat Grim, make the proper items you need, and that's that. Here are the gloves you want to get by the end of Act 1. The Reason Scraps. Ever Vigilant. Now, when you get this sucker, when the wearer chooses to end their rage, they gain 15 temporary hit points. Here's the deal. When you end your rage, this is really good. So you defeat some foes after combat, boom, there's your 15 temporary hit points. This is at the cave after defeat the gnolls where the Zents are at in Act 1. Here's another set of gloves, good alternatives. Gloves of Dexterity. Dexterity is set to 18, and you gain a +1 attack. Now, this is at the Githyanki Crash at the Mountain Pass. Now, Araji Jera, she's a vendor there. If you're friendly to her, buy them. Also buy anything else she has before attacking. Very important. Here's another good alternative. Gloves of the Growling Underdog. 2 or more foes who surround you gain advantage on melee attacks. Also +1 strength saving throws. Dor Rajglin, that is the big, I think, hobgoblin or orc, is there. You kill him, you get the key, then you go into his treasure room, and it's in one of the crates there in the Shower Sanctum in Act 1. So let's move on next set of equipment. Next up are the Boots of Speed. When used, your movement is double for 1 round. Thurla has this item in Act 1 in the Underdark. This is really good boots. Pop this sucker, you use your bonus action, however, you move closer to your foes. That's the change off. Here's a good alternative. Boots of Genial Striding. The wearer's movement speed is impeded by difficult terrain. In other words, difficult terrain will be no problem for you at all. Blurk sells this in the Underdark in Act 1. I'm going to tell you right now, buy everything from him because he sells some good stuff. Cloaks, unfortunately, there is none. It happens from time to time. There's some good ones in Act 2 and 3. Necklaces, Amulet of Branding. Foes get hit with the branding spell, takes double damage in melee. Now, this is at the Githyanki Crash. The same merchant that sold the Dexterity gloves will actually drop this. So, buy everything from her, then go ahead and murder her. Here's a nice alternative. Amulet of Restoration. Gain use of Mass Healing Word and Healing Word. In other words, Mass Healing Word, AoE heal, small heal, and Healing Word is small heal. Dirtish Bone Cloak sells this in the Mitochondric Colony, Underdark in Act 1. She's the alchemy vendor. In fact, buy everything magical from her there too. Let's move on to the rings. The first ring is the Crusher Band. Movement speed +3 meters. You can steal or loot this on Crusher's body to get this item in the Goblin Camp in Act 1. Caustic Band. You deal +2 acid damage to foes. Dirtish Bone Cloak sells this in the Mitochondric Colony, Underdark in Act 1. See, I told you. Here's nice alternatives. Ring of Absolute Force, use a Thunder Wave spell, just like the spell, 2 to 12 damage, AoE. If Absolute Branded, you attack plus 1 extra damage to it. Charge it through it in the Grim Forge area has this. You could get it from somehow. The Sparks Wall cannot be electrocuted. Electric resistance increase. This is in the Arcane Tower basement, Underdark in Act 1. Raid that tower. There's some good stuff there. Now let's get to the two-handed weapons. Now, the first weapon you want to get is the Sussor Greatsword, plus 1 Greatsword, silences target on hit. Finish the Masterwork Weapon side quest by getting the Sussor Bark. Get a plain Greatsword, then put it in the forge that's in the Blythe Village in Act 1. Combine those two, and boom, that's it. Also plants as well. Very great Greatsword, especially against casters. You shut them up. Now, here's a nice alternative. Sword of Justice is a plus 1 Greatsword. This gives you Tears Protection, which gives you a buff and plus 2 armor class. And when you remove the sword, of course, Anders in the Risen Road, Toll House drops this in Act 1. You're playing as Karlach, you want to kick his butt for it. Honorable mention, Everburn Blade is good to have too if you did kill off the Commander Zoc in the prologue. This gives you nice fire damage. It's not magical, but it's fine. Let's get to the ranged weapons. Now, the ranged weapons are mainly used if you cannot reach your foe or you want to have fun with them. Titan String Bow, this is a plus 1 longbow. This longbow does damage equal to your strength mod. So if it's 1d8, I think it is, then you attack on 4 if your strength mod's that. This is really useful. Bream in the Zents hideout sells this in Act 1 after you help out the Zents. Here's an alternative, Giant Breaker, plus 1 heavy crossbow. Foes who get hit with it get -1 attack for 2 rounds. Yeah, Bream sells this again in the Zents hideout, so you have a choice between one and the other. Now, here's another bow. Bow of the Banshee, plus 1 short bow. On hit, possibly inflict frighten. So when your foe is now frightened, when you hit them again, they take an extra 1d4 damage. Kosar Greymorn in the Grimforge Undark area sells this or drops this in Act 1. Good idea to buy if you're going incognito or not causing trouble. Now let's talk about the endgame gear. Now, before I do start this section, so if an item that's on the list says Act 2 or Act 3 and a location, do not leave said location. Do not leave the act until you get said item. So let's start with the first type of gear, the headgear. The Bone Spike Helmet, Fury in the Morrow. When you rage, hostile creatures in a 3-meter radius must succeed a Wisdom saving throw or take 2 to 8 psychotic damage. This is really good, by the way. And of course, if they make the saving throw, they take half, but still, the damage is good. Most, they take 8. Least, they take 4. Or I should say more like 1, but still, good. Intimidation plus 2. Also, you gain the menacing attack. Superiority dice move as well. Sold by the Voiceless Pendant, Barakai in Baldur's Gate City Sewers in Act 3. This is a very good item. You should buy it once you arrive. That's the dude that doesn't talk. Purchase this from him. Here's a good alternative. Horns of the Berserker, Seeking Blood. You gain a plus 2 bonus to attack rolls when attacking creatures has already been taking damage. Now that is great though. If you've been doing damage against a foe once, then you attack them again since you do 2 attacks per round. Attack plus 2 on your attack rolls for that. That helps out greatly with the penalties you have with the greater weapon mastery. And another thing with this helmet as well is Bloodthirst. Deals plus 2 necro damage to foes as long as you don't have full health. So if you've been taking some damage, then of course you add plus 2 necro damage. Now if you do not attack anyone, unfortunately this is the downside. You take 1 to 4 necro damage. That's the downside is that, but the upside is good though. Sold at Danilon's Dancing Axe in Act 3. That is the Rivington area before going into the actual city itself. That's the dwarf there. You know where it's at. So let's get to next set of equipment. Now on the cloaks. Yes, there's some actual cloaks this time around. Flesh Melter Cloak. When wearer gets hit, the attacker takes 1 to 4 acid damage. This is in Gilded Chest in the House of Healing Morgue in Act 2. Do not leave the House of Healing Morgue without this. This is one of the best cloaks in the entire game. I felt like it's really good to have. Here's a good alternative. Cinder Moth Cloak. Attacker takes 1 to 4 burning damage per round. Elixirs in the Lower City Sewers in Act 3 drops this. That's the one guy that has the blobs and such. You can force him in combat, kill him for it. Here's a nice alternative cloak number 2. Cloak of the Elemental Absorption. Absorbs elements Absorbs element damage once per short rest. Take half damage from the next elemental attack targeting you. And then you deal an additional 1d6 of that elemental damage on foes. So for example, there's fire damage that's supposed to be 2 to 12. You take 1 to 6 instead. Then you do an additional 1 to 6 fire damage. Found in Ketheric Thorn's chamber in Moonrise Towers in Act 2. Most likely with the Mimic. Yeah, don't leave that tower without getting this cloak. So let's get to the next set of gear. Now let's go on with the chest pieces. Bone Spike Garb, Slapjaw, Determination. When you gain 15 temporary hit points wherever you rage. You also gain Exoskeleton Endurance. Reduces all incoming damage by 2. And when the wearer is struck by a melee attack, the attacker takes 2 piercing damage. These are really good features. Number 1, you gain 15 extra temporary hit points when you rage. You can be doing that quite a bit during the course of Act 3. And then another thing is, yeah, that reduced damage is good. And it's another thing, if you hit me, I hit you back with 2 piercing damage. This is sold at the Riveton General Store in Act 3. I actually did stole this with the stare on, and then of course he gave that to Karlach. And she never took it off ever since. Here's another good piece of equipment. Enraging Heart Garb. Rune Tamer Heart. While raging, the wearer generates 2 turns of Wrath. Now, 2 turns of Wrath, of course, is extra damage with melee weapons. This will also give you Constitution plus 2. This is up to 20. This is really good, though, because remember, Barbarians have that nice bonus with Constitution with armor class if they're not wearing anything at all. In other words, no heavy armor and such. This is sold by Lantarv Merchant in Moonrise Towers in Act 2. Yeah, do not leave Moonrise Towers until you buy this. Really good piece of equipment. Let's go over the gloves. Gauntlets of Hill Giant Strength, +1 strength saving throws. Strength is set to 23. This is in the archives at the House of Hope in Act 3. It's a room with a hammer in it. You definitely want to get this because that strength set to 23 is really nice. Here's an alternative, Legacy of the Masters, +2 attack and damage rolls with weapons, +1 strength saving throws. Damien will sell this in Act 3 in the lower sea if you kept him alive. He sells a whole bunch of other good things too, so yeah, good idea to shop at his place. Let's move on. Now, next up are the boots. Bone Spike Boots. Evasive Instinct. You gain a +1 bonus to armor class and saving throws as long as you're not wearing any armor or holding a shield. Since we're going cloth at this point, because there's some good endgame cloth items for barbarians, this will be very useful. Refined Vaulting. The jump distance is increased to 1.5 meters. Brutal Jump. You gain it when you jump. You land around the area of the foe. If they don't make a saving throw, they could get prone. This is in a hidden passage at the secluded beach in Riveton in Act 3. That's when you make a side with either the guild or another organization that's working with the cult. Definitely don't leave that area until you get it. Here's a nice alternative. Helldust Boots cannot be moved by magic or other means. Immune to difficult terrain as well, just like a high-level ranger. When you fail a saving throw, you could use your reaction to succeed instead. Teleport to the area. When you do teleport, you do 2 to 16 fire damage in the area. This is in Lord Gortash's room in Act 3. You got to either steal the key from him or definitely murder him to get these boots. Let's move on to the next set of equipment. Now, next up on the list is the Amulet of Greater Health. Your Constitution set to 23. Advantages on Constitution saving throws. Okay, let me go ahead and tell everybody about this. This Constitution will be set to 23. So the good news about that is that's some extra AC as long as you're not wearing heavy armor. Since we're wearing cloth, so our Constitution modifier will be high, so will be our armor class as well. This is in the archives at the House of Hope in Act 3. Same thing where the Gauntlets of Hill Giant Strength is at and that hammer. Here's a good alternative. Surgeon Subjugation Amulet. When scoring a critical hit on a humanoid, the wearer can paralyze the target for 2 rounds. Whenever paralyzed, free damage. Maelstrom drops this at the House of Healing in Act 2. I advise using Shadowheart in order to get Maelstrom to kill himself, which is a good thing. Let's move on to the rings. Let's go over the Killer Sweetheart. When you kill a creature, your next attack roll will be a critical hit automatically if you decide to use that feature. This is a very powerful ring. I mean, this is one of the best, I should say, damaging rings in the game. Even range damage classes use it, melee classes use it. Get it for yourself. This is at the self-same trial in the Gauntlet Shard in Act 2. When you face off against your doppelganger and kill your doppelganger to complete the trial before you grab the umbral orb, loot your doppelganger's corpse, and the ring is there. Ring of Regeneration. At the start of combat, you regenerate 1 to 4 hit points. Roland sells this in Act 3 at the Sorcerer's Sundries. If Roland's not alive, then there is a mage image that will sell it as well. Buy this ASAP. Now, here are 2 good rings for this. Ring of Free Action. You know the effects of difficult terrain and cannot be paralyzed or restrained. Adraja, that is the Shrink Potion NPC, sells this in Act 2. I said before, she has some great jewelry there. Endgame, clean her inventory out. And play it cool at the Moonrise Towers to reach the merchant. Risky Ring. You could also switch it with the Ring of Regeneration if you want to. Gain advantages on attack rolls. Remember that minus 5-1? Well, guess what? That will actually negate that. However, your disadvantage is on saves, which is fine, though. I mean, come on, that's a disadvantage, but the advantage is great. The same NPC who sells the Ring of Free Action, the Strength Potion NPC lady, also sells this as well. Let's get to two-handed weapons. Barbarian's Giant Slayer. On hit, it doubles your strength mod. So if your strength mod, for example, is 5, it will now be 10. Advantages on creatures large and above. This is a +3 greatsword. In giant form, you do 1d6 extra damage, 27 extra hit points, and you also have a nice advantage on strength saving throws. This drops by the boss of the Wormway Trials in Act 3. Not spoiling who the boss is, but you know when you see the boss. Here's a good alternative, Sword of Chaos. When you hit, you regenerate 1 to 6 hit points. This is a +2 greatsword. Looted from you-know-who in the Murder Tribunal in Act 3. Honorable mention, there's a Halberd you get in Act 2. You buy from a certain Hobgoblin NPC. It's one of the cultists. It's a +2/1, and of course, it's powerful as well, in case you can't get the other 2. Let's get to the ranged weapons. The ranged weapons we're using for, you guessed it, against runners and such. Darkfire Shortbow, +2 shortbow, gain resistance to fire and ice, which is good for this class. Can cast haste, just like the normal haste spell. You get the drawbacks as well. Damon sells this in Act 2. If you're real lucky, he'll actually sell this in Act 3 as well. Clean out his inventory in Act 2 and 3 if he's alive. Fabricate Aboleth. This is a +2 heavy crossbow. Illuminating shot fires a shimmering bolt that inflicts 1 turn radiant orb upon the target. This orb deals 1d4 piercing damage. Now, the deal is Dazzling Ray unleashes a beam of brilliant light that blinds all creatures in its path until the spell ends. You can also recast as well. Casting it again and again may also burn you. This is for 10 turns. On save, targets still take half damage, and that damage, by the way, is 2d10 radiant damage. Lord Gortash drops this in Act 3, so you have to kill Lord Gortash for it. That's about it for gear that you should definitely get for your characters from, of course, by the end of Act 1 and endgame gear. So what we're going to talk about is potions, elixirs, and oils next. For the potions, elixirs, and oils, I decided to list best of each of the categories. Just remember that elixirs, you only do 1 per long rest. If you use 1, then the previous one that you did have, the effects of it will go bye-bye. So let's start with potions first. As always with potions, make sure you get all types because you're going to be using that quite a bit throughout the game. Now, Potion of Haste, gain extra action, +2 AC, advantage on dex saving throws, and double speed movement. There's a backlashing effect after that. You get negative extra action and such like that. But it is still very good to use. They're basically boss killers. If you use a Potion of Haste, it will give you enough rounds to kick some serious butt. Now, another one is a Potion of Flying. This is good, same as the Fly spell. I'm going to go ahead and mention an honorable mention. Potion of Vaulting, give you more jumping height and such, which is good. So let's go to elixirs. Let's go over to elixirs. Elixirs of Vigilance, gain +5 bonus to initiative, and you cannot be surprised. This is good to have until your barbarian gets a ability that is +3 bonus to initiative and can't be surprised. Elixirs of the Colossus, increase size, gain strength saving throws and advantages, and does 1d4 extra weapon damage. This is a real good potion because when you're bigger, you could jump higher and go after those annoying casters. Elixir of Viciousness. So the Elixir of Viciousness does the following. Increase your chance to land a critical hit. So instead of, like, for example, a 20 roll, -1, now it's 19 or 20 to do that. Now, next up is Elixir of Cloud Giant Strength. Your strength is set to 27. There's a lesser version of that is good as well, but save the Cloud Giant strength ones towards the end of the game. Just trust me, they're really great. Elixir of Bloodlust. Upon killing your foe, you gain 5 extra hit points and an extra bonus action. This is really good, everyone. I mean, I abuse this quite a bit in some instances. That's about it for elixirs. Let's talk about oils. Now for oils, let's talk about the oil accuracy. This is a coat weapon type of deal. This will give you a +2 bonus to attack rolls. Since we have that -5, that drops to -3. Really good to have, especially good early on if you could get yourself one. Wizard Bane oil. Now when you coat your weapon with this, target receives -3 penalty to spell attack rolls and spell save DC. Also, they have disadvantages on saving throws for maintaining concentration for 2 turns. Annoying caster you see, coat your weapon, hit them once. They get so many disadvantages, you can laugh at them after. Last but not least, if you get your hand on any poisons, coat it as well. Use some of the good ones as last ditch effort, especially the purple worm toxins. That's about it for potions, oils, and elixirs. So let's go ahead and do the combat test with this build. When you do start out the game and going through Act 1 until a certain point, or I say it's also Act 2, until you do actually do the multi-class change, well, guess what? You have to rely on Frenzy, Reckless attacks, greater weapon attacks, like for example, greater weapon mastery bonus, and anything else of the matter. If you cannot kill a foe, at least do enough damage so your other party members can wreck them all big time. So yeah, let me tell you, yeah, you're going to start off a little slow as a barbarian. However, you'll quickly gain momentum when you definitely get some nice early on gear, especially your weapons as well. Just definitely remember to know when to attack, know what abilities you use, and know when to have a good time as well. I'm going to go ahead and just let this go on a little bit with Karlach before I definitely go on to the, I should say, Act 3 stuff. Yeah, enjoy her kicking some serious booty early on. Also, yeah, think of it like this with your build as well.
The hammer's gonna fall. Knees high.
So now we're at Act 3. Can this take on bosses? Oh yes, and even tough enemies as well, like the Steel Watcher. So we're going to go ahead and have Karlach do some serious damage against the Steel Watcher and let the fun fly. Or I say lack of hit points. There's one attack. There's the second attack. Let's go ahead and pop the action surge. Boom, we get extra attack. So let's go ahead and use our, you guessed it, precision strike. There you go. Now we get ourselves some extra attack rolls. Let's go ahead and do another attack one more time, and there. So right away you notice that Karlach took out more than the Steel Watcher's half its hit points. So now I'm going to have Karlach stay still, go ahead and cast a very nice spell, which is Shadow next. Let's go ahead and do that, and there you go. Now it's about to blow up. Now I'm going to go ahead and switch to Will. He's going to finish off the Steel Watcher. And because Karlach did a lot of damage, guess what, everyone? Yeah, we have our party members finish off the boss. Sometimes with this build, you're going to finish off the boss or tough enemies yourself. Here's some final advice before I do end this video guide. 1 through 8 levels, you're going to be a barbarian. When you get the last 4 levels, you're going to be a fighter. So definitely learn up on playing a barbarian first. After that, of course, start using your fire abilities like Action Surge, any of the superiority dice move, I should say, skills and such. Yeah, when you definitely get the gear later on in the game, oh, you're going to be a powerful powerhouse. You're going to be wrecking foes like crazy with melee, and nothing will definitely stop you. This is it from my Baldur's Gate 3 Barbarian Berserker Fire Battlemaster Superiority Frenzy DPS build video. This is Lord Fenton signing off. Thanks for watching, and have a great day or night. Please stay safe. Please subscribe to my channel for more classic and modern Dungeons & Dragons walkthroughs, builds, guides, and more just like this. If you like what you see, then go ahead and pick my suggestion on the upper left-hand corner or YouTube suggestion on the bottom left-hand corner. I'm going to go ahead and relax in this nice chair.